Cleveland, Ohio. Good morning, Republican line.
Yeah, Mr. Rich, boy, it's really great to talk to you. I have a lot of respect for you. But I disagree so much with what you say now. We hear so much talk about how the Republican Party's got to be repaired. There's got to be more kumbaya to everybody. Why don't we just have one party and kumbaya everybody in it? I mean, that's not going to work. It's not. We have beliefs, and we're going to stick with those beliefs. What you're going to find out is the Democrats are going to put themselves out of being in charge very soon. I mean, they're bringing us total disaster as far as the economy goes, and we'll be right back in. I hear all the pundits on MSNBC and other networks are all questioning how the Republican Party is going to rebuild. We need to stick to our beliefs, and the Democrats will put us back in power again.
We'll get a response. Thank you, George.
Well, I don't disagree with you, sir. I'm just saying that on those occasions when we differ on some of these issues, particularly the social issues, we have to be a little bit more tolerant of these opinions on these difficult, controversial, but difficult decisions. But at the end of the day, you're right. We have historically, one of the bedrock principles of the Republican Party was limited government, reminding everybody the government has no money of its own. It belongs to the government. The dollars government use come out of your pocket and mine and everybody else's. So it's limited government, ethical government, competent government. We have a differ historically in the issue of the military and the support for our defense establishment. There are some bedrock principles that we don't need, we cannot abandon because they are Republican principles and they do provide a contrast with the Democratic Party. And what I'm saying now is I think under the past 5 or 6 months, with President Obama's move toward his view of capitalism and the free enterprise system as demonstrated by not only the bailouts, but taking over basically taking over the domestic car industry, owning a significant portion of the banking industry, his discussions on health care reform, ultimately a government controlled, no matter how he says it, they'll set prices, they'll may end up limiting access in spite of what they say, the energy policy. These are opportunities for us to compare and contrast our principles with the Democrats, and we need to be very aggressive, to your point, in using their policies as a means to contrast ours in a thoughtful and articulate way, and be a little, and I've said this before, we're going to have to be far more tolerant of each other's opinions on some of these other issues if we are going to regain majority status. If we're not interested in winning the presidency, then in controlling the House and the Senate, then we can continue to be fairly rigid and unaccepting and intolerant of certain opinions within the party. But if you're interested in winning, you got to, I think you have to just show evidence of greater tolerance of differences of opinion.
Well, let me follow up on one point. When the former Vice President Dick Cheney tells Bob Schieffer that Rush Limbaugh is a Republican and Colin Powell is not, what's your reaction?
Well, I think Colin Powell, ever since I've known him, I don't know how he was registered, even if he bothered to register as a military man, worked within the Republican Party, certainly was out there campaigning for Republicans. I mean, Colin Powell was a Republican as far as I'm concerned, and again, it's that I have enormous regard for the Vice President, but it's that mindset that I think it creates an environment not conducive to the openness and the candid and honest disagreement we can have within the party and still retain unity. Unity does not mean unanimity. There are certain core bedrock principles around which we can unite. It doesn't mean that we are unanimously in lockstep on all of them.